Hey.
Hello, everybody. We're live. Welcome back to Crypto Talks. we have the worst. I think we have the worst intros of any like
Oh,
YouTube
we are
channel. It's like
terrible.
we don't even know what to say. We
Like
just
me
say
to help
hi.
with that.
Just
Yeah, I
morning.
mean, no, but let's see. Okay, so hi,
If you
welcome.
like
Let's
Bob's idea, just hi.
Either way, okay, so we're back again. We're gonna do an hour to 2 hour show where we kind of talk. I'm Phil. You know that already. I'm joined by Rob as usual, and today we also have Hayley with us from Treasury. Hi.
Hi.
Is everything good with everybody? I'm guessing, right?
Oh, good as always. Happy as always.
Good as always, happy as always. That's nice. That's nice. All right, cool. So Hayley, since you're new to this channel, but we know each other from before because we've
We do,
obviously
yes.
we had some, I guess, cooperative work done together while Rob and I was working for a project. We're not going to mention that project. We try not to mention projects too much because we don't want people to think that we're shilling something that we've worked on or anything. So, but that's how we know you. And so I was thinking maybe you could just kind of explain who you are and what you do at where you're doing it.
That's about right. There you go. Name what you want. We're on. This. You're the guest. This is your show.
Okay, so I'll do it quickly then. So I'm Hales. I'm the Director of Marketing over on Treasury XRPL, which is a project on the XRP blockchain. We deal in education, helping new projects get started up, and we also have business services over there. So we're quite a well-rounded project. And I know Phil because I kicked his butt at the movie quiz of a project we shall not name on multiple occasions.
Hey, I'm not gonna say that I'm not upset about that, but I'm also not particularly sad because we had a good time.
We
no,
did.
but
We had
so yeah, we did have a lot of
neck and neck races, didn't we, Phil?
what was that?
It was neck and neck a few times, but that's
But
when
then
I
I
was
let
going.
you win.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. No. Yeah. We Well, actually, Rob, you're right. Like we don't need to keep things secret. Like we worked for a project called Versex, right? And they're building a metaverse. They're building a metaverse, and it looks amazing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Obviously, otherwise I wouldn't have worked there.
And we collabed with Versex.
And we collabed. Yeah, precisely.
On quite a few things. So on our education platform, which has helped quite a few people. And I mean, a big thing which is still happening is people are still getting scammed. And I've heard of 2 instances in the past week. Yeah. But I'm sure it does happen a lot more. But I mean, if on our academy platform, we actually have a whole lesson on how to do your own research and protect yourself from those scammers, which is really important. And another thing that we collabed on is our venture platform, which is for the new up and coming projects where Versex have actually donated to the prize pool that the winning projects can get. And the prize they've donated is fantastic because who wouldn't want to pop up shop in a metaverse?
Yeah,
for free as well, which is it's amazing because our pool that the winning projects can get is insane. They can get a bit of seed funding, but they also get tools to help them get up and running, which anyone who's run a project of any kind, or even something like Crypto Talks, would be grateful of having some support at the start to get set up, and running, advice, mentorship.
Yeah,
Because
no,
I mean, even I know myself, I run Twitter Spaces, and the first few spaces can be scary and daunting, and to have somebody there who could have mentored me a bit more. And I did have a mentor. She's a great friend. She runs spaces almost every day in Twitter, which is somebody called Too Cold. So I'm sure everybody on the
Yeah.
XLPL.
Oh
and
yeah,
on
I
Twitter
remember.
come
That's
across.
very
Yeah.
that's a very fun person to talk to.
She
Actually,
is absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic.
She's a
and
very original personality, I would say.
yeah,
She's great.
she's
But-
not somebody you could easily emulate, but you know, she was
Yeah.
one of my early mentors without realizing she was my mentor at the time, because I was in a lot of her spaces. But thanks to her, I picked up quite a few hints and tips, and
Right.
it helped me. She mentored me when I didn't know I needed a mentor.
Yeah. No, that's fun that you should say that, because like in if you look at what Crypto Talks is trying to do, which is kind of educate people, meanwhile we're trying to, entertain as well. But mainly it's an educational platform, right? Where people can network and all these things. Because I think we all believe that in the crypto space, networking is one of the like the best ways to get into the space, not just as an investor, but if you ever want to work in the space, like just networking
Yeah,
with people from
100%.
everywhere, you will eventually be noticed to be one of those people that are, the most active in, a project Discord. Even as like if you're an investor and you invest in a project and then you join their Discord and you hang around there and you talk a lot and you help people will notice that. And then project community leaders and all these things, they will also notice that, and they will usually, a lot of projects, they kind of recruit from the community as well. So when you say that you guys are trying to educate and trying to help people from avoiding scams, or trying to teach them how to trade safely and how to get in and out of positions and all these things, it's like that's what we do too. So that's one of the reasons we wanted you here too, Hayley, because I know that we have the same kind of goals at the end of the day, to kind of try to get people in and spread the word of crypto, I guess.
Spread the word with a sort of a bit of logic and objectivity and brain power. Hopefully, that's kind of that's the plan. There's an awful lot of very smooth brain YouTubing out there that and I kind of obviously we're worried like me and Phil go off on one of our little rampages of 20 minutes talking about something. It's like we don't even know if anyone else is paying attention. We're just talking to ourselves at this point and hoping it makes sense to everybody else. But no, that's a much better way to do it than sort of when Moon next 100x altcoin, buy this gem for massive gains.
I think we can all agree that as a now that we are content creators, it sounds weird for me to say that, because like I don't want my job to be a content creator. I want to be an educator and somebody that
that's the same thing.
Yeah, but it's like it just sounds weird to me, because content creator can be anything. You could be an OnlyFans content creator, and it's like not sure.
Is educational, right?
Check link in the description.
check the link in the description for. Check link in the description for Rob's OnlyFans page. No, that's a joke, by the way.
Let me just go and make one.
Yeah, sure. No, but so
I could just leave you talking. I've got I can whack something up in an hour.
Yeah. So Hayley, now that you're here as well, I mean, with Treasury and all that, what are you guys seeing being one of the major problems for like new people that are trying to get into the space? What do you think, us as more experienced players, I guess, what do you think we can focus on to try to help people to kind of get in? How do we entice new people to get into crypto? Maybe not as investors, but as users of certain platforms and stuff like that. Like, what do you think we can try to be better at? Just generally speaking, not just us specifically, but everybody.
a lot of it is education around crypto in general.
Yeah.
You know, there's still a lot of misinformation out there. A lot of people think that, you know, the whole SEC case is just going to completely destroy crypto.
Yeah.
And I think we're proving them very wrong, because even though there is this case going on with the SEC and Ripple library, and the fact that they can't make up their mind if Ethereum is a security or not. You've got people saying it is a security, people saying it's not a security. I think it's just helping people to understand the noise better. And I think that's probably the best way to describe it. A lot of the information out there is just noise. People would think that the XRPL would crumble because of this SEC case, and actually it's not. People are building, people are developing, and there's some really strong projects and communities out there, even with all this uncertainty going on. So even if this case was to go on for another 2-3 years, which potentially it could, because I've been hearing since I came into the XRPL that the case is going to be over, it's going to finish in 4 weeks, 6 months. You know, it's all noise. I tend to drown out. There's a case going on, and you know what? It will finish when it finishes.
I feel like we should be placing bets on which one comes out first, the SEC case or Elder Scrolls 6. I think that's a fair.
I'm gonna put my money on Elder Scrolls 6.
Oh, wow, that's.
You know,
I'm not sure I agree with you there, but I'd like that.
It's kind of funny because, you know, I think you're right that the thing that is scaring off the retail, or you know, the mainstream person from crypto is that they're hearing a lot about the XRP case. They're hearing a lot about, you know, the FTX thing that happened, but they
you only ever hear the bad news.
Yeah, but it's like when you have the FTX thing, right?
No,
like
you only hear the bad news in a bear market and the good news in a bull market.
Yeah,
because that's what everyone's paying attention to.
But like I'm trying to say here is like, we're in the FTX thing. People are saying, "Oh, crypto is bad, crypto is bad." Excuse me, it's a centralized entity, not crypto, that crashed. It was a centralized entity that had to do with crypto that crashed. So actually, it's your system that's failing us, not the decentralized crypto space. So it's like, if you explain that to people that are not really into the crypto space, they suddenly go, "Oh, I didn't know that." Of course you didn't, because
nobody's told you.
Nobody's told you. So I think that's one of those things that I try to do. I try to spread the actual truth around what is actually going on, instead of just the headlines. Because a lot of people out there, you know, there's a guy in Sweden. It's a Swedish philosopher called Alexander Bard, and he had an interview a while back, like 2 years back, where he had said some stuff on Twitter and people freaked out. I'm not going to get into what that was, but essentially he says, if you only read tweets and think you're going to be smart, you're an idiot. So it's like, you got to read books, you got to do research on your own to actually know what's going on. Otherwise, you're just some person that reads headlines in newspapers.
Yeah, so
that doesn't work.
Do your own research.
Precisely. Yeah, but you know, obviously we can understand that people that are new to this space, they won't, if they're not interested in crypto because they think it's dangerous or bad, they won't do their own research just to prove somebody else wrong, because if you're not interested in something, you're not going to research it. End of story, right? So if we, as a collective, like people, everybody here, everyone in the chat and everything. Hi, everybody, by the way. I see you, Domino. I see you, Sue. See John. Nice to see you guys again. But like, if everybody here who is into crypto can actually find a way to explain things to let's call them normies, that, I think that's what we have to do. I don't think we should try to talk about, oh, Bitcoin is going to go to the moon, or, you know, if you buy this thing, rich. Like that's
It's-
not what people care about. They just look at that and say, yeah, right. Just explain what it actually is and why it's good.
it-
You know?
it's right. So it's almost like when I'm if somebody's asking about Bitcoin, it's like, okay, you want to know about Bitcoin? It's like, do you know what money is? And it's like, do you know what an asset is? It's like, there's so many lessons to get to and it's almost like saying, can you tell me about, what are you English? Can you tell me about England? It's like, in 100 AD, the Romans first arrived at our shores, and it's like there's so much background to put in, and for normies to kind of to absorb, and it's like the narrative. It's no wonder that the narrative that brings them in and that makes them join is number go up. It's look at this thing that's making me money and making me rich, and that is 90% of, I'm sure, the people, 90% of the people in this chat, the first crypto they bought, it was going to make them a millionaire in their minds. And it's quite it's quite rare to find kind of that really simple. There are obviously quite a few channels that do put really, really good content out, but it is difficult to take that first step until number go up.
Yeah, I think it's kind of dangerous.
The work should be put in now during these periods of boredom, basically.
Yeah. I think
when I came in, number gone down, number has certainly not gone up. But if I'd have come in when I first heard about like the XRP, I'd have come in a lot higher. But it took me a lot of time researching, and I think that's what people need to do, because I was probably one of those people that thought, you want me to buy make-believe money?
Yeah. I mean, that was my reaction first time I heard about Bitcoin too.
Big scam, isn't it? So I was probably one of those normies going, don't be silly. It's all a big scam. Everybody's going to lose all their money. There's nothing out there. It's a con. But actually, when I went and did my digging, did my research, was reading about things, I was like, oh, okay. No, actually, yeah, I do feel confident coming in. And when I came in, XRP was at double the value it is now. Mm-hmm. So I came in at, I think it was 70p, if we're going with GBP. And since then it's just dropped, which is absolutely fine, because I did more research and like, oh, okay, so you've got a bear market and you've got a bull market. At the moment, we're in a bear market, so the value is going to go down. And before things can go up, they have to go down.
Yeah, sort of.
If you look at historical charts, you see that wave, don't you, where things going up and down and up and down and up and down.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely fine. So I'm just waiting for that next up to happen. Right. And I'm in a position where when that next up happens, because I'm not the most technical person when it comes to crypto, I probably talk more like normies, which that's fine. That's how I understand it, and that works for me. And if anyone learns from the way I speak about crypto, then that's even better, because we're the early adopters still. So even though crypto's been around for years now, we're still in the early adoption phase. We've not gone properly mainstream yet.
Yeah, no.
But there is going to be, when we do go mainstream, it's going to be crazy, because that's when we're really going to be the educators. So at the moment, we're educators, but when it goes mainstream, we're going to be educating all of those around us, because we've been there, we've done it. And the biggest thing we're going to be advising people on is actually how not to get scammed.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, you're right. I mean, looking at, I don't know how many people I've brought into this space personally, but I think I can, as of last week, I can tick off one of the bucket lists, one of the bucket list items, which is I got my mom into crypto. Yeah, she's investing in Bitcoin now. And I think the easiest segue to get people into the crypto space is to, we actually got a question about this. I'm going to show that right now. It's from John. He says, how do you best give people an entrance to crypto? As in, what would you recommend newcomers as an introduction? And with that, I would like to say that if you can explain why Bitcoin is better, I think if you can explain to people what money is, as in what is money, and why has certain money worked better than other money, such as gold, and then if they find some kind of interest in that, in understanding that history, then you say, and here is why Bitcoin is better than gold, for example. If you can explain that, and they understand it, if they understand the history of money, they will understand why Bitcoin is better, right? As a hard asset, as hard money. And I think that is one of the, I've noticed personally when talking to normies, that where they react to like, oh really, is when they realize that they didn't know what money actually is. And then when you tell them there's a better solution, they go, oh crap, okay, that's cool. So for me, it's the easiest way is to do it with Bitcoin, because everybody has heard about Bitcoin. They just don't know what it is properly. If I were to try to get somebody in by starting to talk about Polygon Matic, it's going to be not going to work, because that's like level 2 difficulty in explaining, what it is. But if you, John, as an experienced person, don't catch somebody with the interest of the Bitcoin, what Bitcoin is, then maybe you could go and say, let's take Polygon, for example. It's like, why don't you explain that?
The easy one. The next step is Ethereum. Lesson 2 is Ethereum, right? So
yeah, right. Well, let's take Ethereum then, and then the way you explain that, for me, that's worked for me, is you say, okay, you want an iPhone, right? And people say, oh well, yeah. Why do you want it? Well, because of all the applications that I can get on it. Like different whatever applications.
Calculator, torch, alarm clock.
No, but like
Facebook,
so the way I
my life in my hand.
No, so the way I explained Ethereum or other layer ones like Solana and Avalanche, whatever, and XRP, it's like, if you want, so Ethereum is the App Store. ETH is the iPhone, because you need iPhone to get the App Store, right? And same way you need Ethereum to do transactions fees on the Ethereum network or protocol to be able to use applications built on ETH. So it's like, if you can put that analogy together in a nice way, that gets people to understand, like, oh, okay, cool, I get it now. So that's why Ethereum has value.
You have never told me that analogy, and that is really, really good.
Yes, I've told it to John 3 times before. No, I'm kidding. No,
you've never told me that analogy.
But so yeah, I don't know if you both agree with that.
For sure.
But that's how I explain layer ones to people. Do you guys have any other kind of good way to kind of get somebody into the crypto space? For me, it was Bitcoin and then the ETH thing, but I don't know.
Showing them the chart going up is a really good way. Yeah. No, I think it's.
I mean, sorry to.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Rob.
No, go for it. Go.
No, sorry to come back to it, but obviously that's where the Treasury Academy comes in, because it's giving people a basic understanding of crypto and of utilities of crypto. Obviously, it's mainly aimed at the XRPL because that's the blockchain we're on, but it's education and making education accessible to everyone in a way they can understand it and relate to it. I think that's the more important thing, where your analogy comes in, Phil, is it's making it relatable to something, because, you know, other than it's magical, mythical money that promises to make people rich, which is what most normies will understand crypto as, you know.
Get rich quick, get poor
Yeah.
quicker.
And there is no such thing really in life as get rich quick unless you win the lottery.
Yeah.
And that's
the
exactly what they
only
see
way.
crypto as. They see crypto as a lottery. They see it as gambling. They see it as roulette. It's not. In their mind, the level of sophistication of their understanding is that of a gambler. It's not that of someone who understands what they're buying into, and part of that includes the volatilities and the price swings, which means you have to have an understanding of markets and money and how things are correlated and move together if you don't want to be surprised. And yeah, there's a lot of people that got very, very shocked in 2022 because they didn't know what they were doing in 2021.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
And we still don't know what we're doing in 2023.
yeah, well, we're just making it up. So overall, so what's the kind of what's the overall scope for Treasury's sort of education side? You know, so how wide-ranging content, sort of, that, as far as you've planned anyway, do you intend to have, that's, you know, make available?
So we've started with the basics, and we're now moving into a lot more in-depth education around the XRPL. I mean, Duncan, who's the CEO over there, he's just done a whole video course on a platform called BitHump.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that lesson has been taken really well by a lot of people who have gone through it, because it's teaching people how to do, you know, deep dives on wallets. So if a project out there puts their wallet address up, so if they've got nothing to hide, somebody, as part of their own research, could go and dig into a project's wallet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's something I've played around with myself in the past when I've seen sort of, you know, suspicious behaviors within a wallet. Yeah, you know, I've spent time learning how to use Etherscan or XRP scan, you know, and understand what everything means. It's a very good tool. Yeah, as a more advanced tool for somebody who understands, you know, what they're doing, for sure.
Yeah, because we just want
it's a very useful tool to have.
Yeah, and I think people need to realize
growing.
also. I think people need to realize also that most things are always boring until you start understanding it. Like, so when you have an education thing like that, where you're like, oh, today we're going to talk about how to dig through wallets, it's like, oh god, this sounds so boring. But then when you start understanding it, like 2 minutes into a video like that, you know, you go,
you understand the importance.
oh, I get it now. Now I understand. And then suddenly there's like a spark, and you're like, okay, let's go, right? And then it works. So I did not know that he just made a whole thing there. I haven't actually.
Yeah, there's a whole list of
series
on it, and I mean, because we really want Academy to grow, we've got a position vacant for a dean of the Academy. So someone whose sole role it is to keep growing the Academy, the new lessons. We've got lessons coming on music NFTs. It's, you know, it's there to be grown and to educate and to use the platform. At the moment, we're paying people to learn. So if somebody wanted to come in and earn a token on the XRPL, then our Academy is a great way to do it, because we're paying you to learn, which seems a bit crazy, really, doesn't it? Normally you would pay to learn.
Like,
we're going, I'll tell you what, you come.
It sounds like going to school in Sweden. You get paid to go to school in Sweden.
That's where I went wrong. I should have gone to Sweden to go to school.
Yeah.
So yeah, within that pay to, so within that being paid to
So it's
learn,
learn to learn.
how do the tokenomics of that work, and how do you manage to sort of, how's the plan to be for that to be sustainable? Because if you're giving out something which people can then just readily sell, what's their inspiration or motivation to buy it or hold it rather than sell it?
You don't get like millions of tokens for doing it. So it's a way for people to come into our ecosystem, and because we have 2 tokens, so we have our main token, which is Treasury, which is the token of value, and then we have Utilitex, which is our utility token, very aptly named. And it allows people to join a project with little risk, and that's the thing. You can actually join a project with little risk to yourself. The way we pay out discourages a lot of farmers as well. So it's not like, come in, we're going to give you loads and loads of tokens, because we don't pay out, in great numbers. We give you a fair value to get you into our ecosystem, and then you can actually see how an ecosystem on the XRPL works. So our utility token is used for voting on venture, and when one of our next products go live, which is Insure, it will be used on Insure as well. But our main token holding that gets you rewarded in Utilitex on a daily basis. We do Utilitex rewards. There's 3 different tiers for those, and everything works quite nicely. So our token hasn't, because we give out a value free, doesn't mean that it's killed the value of the actual token. In fact, the token is holding quite nice and steady, and rises as well in value.
Yeah.
And
So I think, I think for you, I think the point of your token is not to be a moneymaker for anyone, but more as a utility to actually use the platform, right? And use your different products that you have. So it's not necessarily about earning money. It's more like, this is what you need to use our stuff. And you can get it for free by educating yourself through our courses, which is very, that I like that. So it's not being sold as something like, oh, hey, go invest in this. Rather, hey, go use our stuff and learn. And then you can learn, you can use more of our products that we're implementing, right? That's sort of what it is, right?
You can also invest if you choose to. We've got a lot going on.
Yeah.
And we're just growing and growing. And like I say, we've recently launched business services as well.
Right. So you're helping businesses kind of.
So our business services, so anyone who was around early last year will know that airdrops were massive. And in fact, there's still a lot of projects that do airdrops. So we've created something called the Preferential Trust Line, or PTL for short, where people go and verify themselves and are then added to a PTL list. So projects who do want to drop to communities and want to know that the people they're dropping to are real investors rather than farmers and bots can come to us and discuss using the PTL, because that way they know they're dropping to investors and not farmers who generally, when you have an airdrop, you will see a token price just absolutely nosedive. And that's because you have the farmers out there who will get all their free tokens and just sell them and sell them and sell them, because to them it's free money. They're not looking to invest. They're not looking to help a project grow. They're literally there to get their airdrop, get their free money and go. And it doesn't matter what they do.
So I suppose it kind of,
in the meantime.
I suppose it kind of eliminates some of the focus from making money on something and putting it onto the technology itself and the tools that you might get access to.
Yeah,
which is a good thing, because that's what I want to see people do. I want to see people think more about when they look at a project, they want to think, oh, I like this project because it has this, this, and this, and I like that because I would like to use that, and I think that's a great idea, rather than, oh, I don't know if I want to buy this, or I don't know if I want to be in this project because I don't know if I can make money on this. Like, stop thinking about that so much and start thinking about, will this project give a product to the world that will be good, right? That's where the focus should lie a lot of the time, I think. And I think that's something that I think is missing from the crypto space overall, because there's so many people that come into it just because, just like Rob said, they look at the crypto space and they say, oh, it's it's number go up technology. But in essence, it's actually really advanced new tech that's coming out, but people don't realize that because they just see the money, right? So I could see that being a problem long term, for a lot of people. And that's, I think, also why a lot of people get hurt.
And ultimately, this is kind of the problem with when we have these exponential curves of adoption, and it's something. So John mentioned actually.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Here.
Where are we on the exponential curve of adoption? Which one? Which curve? Because what we have are multiple curves happening all at once in every sector. Where is the curve for, look at the curve for AI has just taken a huge leap forward in the last few months in terms of adoption, in terms of the number of people there. Boom, within not even exponential, a step change almost of users, and that is now a step change of value. So we're going to see whole ecosystems of cryptocurrency that are new tokens that haven't even been thought up yet, that are going to be integrated with AI, integrated with NFTs, integrated with metaverses, and we haven't even considered what level of adoption they will bring. So, but at the same time, you've got things like many DeFi tokens which have had a run up much earlier than a lot of other things. Everybody was into yield farming in sort of late 2020, and all this stuff blew up. And now most of it's 99% down. Nobody's farming it. The phrase, if you don't know where the yield is coming from, you're the yield, is very, very appropriate with a lot of the DeFi stuff through, again, lack of education. But now we're starting to see a real sort of accumulation of that sector where all of the valuation is going into sort of the blue chip, the good, the actual real products within that sector. So that's its own curve of adoption. Bitcoin's curve of adoption is kind of, is essentially tied to the, very boringly, it's tied to the adoption or the valuation of gold, of real estate, of stocks, of particularly bonds. The bond market is essentially what the price of money is. That's telling you the price of money, what you can get by locking up your pounds by buying government debt. And as more and more people, and this is a gradual shift, stop allocating their capital to government debt and start allocating it to Bitcoin, that's something which doesn't happen during good times. It happens during essentially economic collapses. It happens during bad times. It happens when the stable thing that everybody's part their money in fails. So it's very difficult to say where we are on the adoption curve because, well, when the shit hits the fan, it's going to take another step change up in terms of the capital which will leave these markets, and Bitcoin will capture some of that valuation. But you can't predict it or call it or say this is going to happen at this time. So, and that's the HODL mentality. That's the reason for HODL. We don't know what's happening, but what we can see is the long-term trend. So, that's an adoption curve that started way before anything else. And now we have, the NFT adoption curve, the metaverse adoption curve, AI, crypto, all of this, and it's all just in one big pile. And we're going to sort out which of it's valuable and which of it's a load of shit, basically. Yeah. And it's not one adoption curve. It's a whole squiggly, wiggly mess of adoption.
So I think I know what John meant about, the adoption curve. I think the general adoption curve that people tend to talk about when it comes to Bitcoin and crypto is how many users are there compared to how many people on the planet. And it's like I can't remember how many uses there are
See-
exactly, but we have passed the innovators part, and we've entered the early adopters for sure.
See, what I'm looking at though is how do you quantify, in terms of Apple, how many users is Apple? Is that one or is that 3 billion?
Yeah.
Tesla, the fact that Tesla invested in Bitcoin and they own some Bitcoin, how many users does that equate to? So realistically, I think personally the kind of way to look at it, you have the adoption curve, but also you have essentially the kind of the realized market cap, how much actual money has been put into this asset versus other asset classes. And this, that's why we should look at things like Bitcoin versus the S&P 500 and Bitcoin versus gold, where we're looking for this comparatively outperforming asset. So it's a marathon, not a sprint. And during that marathon, say the pace can move and go up and down. And so there's different sort of curves of adoption within the curve of adoption. You've got Metcalfe's law, you've got realized cap, you've got stock to flow, you've got minor, say all the minor price, the exchange price, the amount of sell pressure exchanges put on, all of these as different factors. So it's kind of to go with 7% along the adoption curve is kind of difficult. is kind of what I'm saying. But we're about
I'm very
7%.
ready. I'm very ready
About
to.
7%. Okay.
Yeah.
Only another
Expert
93% to go.
I needed the 90 seconds of waffle I just gave to do the calculation. We are 7% along the adoption curve. There you go, John.
Nice. Can you show us the math for that?
No, you wouldn't understand.
Sorry, I just had to do it.
Put him on the spot.
We tend to, Hayley, I don't know how many of our episodes you've seen, but we tend to put each other in awkward places because it's funny to see the other one squirm.
Don't worry, Rob, you wasn't squirming too much.
No, I'm usually the one who squirms. So, and by the way, I almost thought that your background when you changed it, that it was your actual background, but now I realize. Oh,
well, yeah, that's my grand piano over in the corner there.
Oh yeah, maybe you can play us something during the outro. Yeah, great.
Just default track 1.
Yeah,
very much. Yeah. Hang on, let me just find the music.
Right. Oh, that's great. I like that. But okay, so actually, Hayley, now with maybe we should try to. You need to tell Duncan that we should talk again. I miss talking to him. He's a nice guy.
Well, unfortunately, a Saturday for him is family day, so you don't see him in many meetings, or he doesn't do a lot to do with crypto on a Saturday because that's work-life balance, isn't it? And right. When you're
what a bizarre concept.
I know nothing about that. I'm not even gonna try to pretend like I do that.
That's awful.
It is important to have a good work-life balance.
Do you know what? It's super important. Yeah. I mean, last year we did a space on mental health in crypto, or should I say mental well-being, and it was probably one of the more powerful Twitter spaces I've ever been in. Because we run a safe space, so when people come into our spaces, we don't tolerate nonsense from anyone. We want people to be able to be open and honest. And the mental well-being space was probably quite empowering for a lot of people. I don't think there was a dry eye in the house at some points. Because when you actually open up about the effect that being in this kind of space can have, and especially if you're working in a project and a project lead, because you don't just worry about your crypto, you're worrying about your community's crypto as well.
Yeah, everybody else's, for sure.
Yeah. And making sure that you're innovating and, delivering to what you're supposed to be delivering, and the impact it can have on you, because it's very easy in any work environment to basically dedicate your life to what you're doing.
Yep.
And then you start forgetting about the important people around you who are there supporting you, picking you up when you're down. And it's more important that you have that support network around you, you have those people around you, and you don't get lost in the world that is crypto, which could be so easy to do.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, hearing from real people about their experiences and what they do to look after their mental well-being, even if it's just getting up and going for a walk or giving somebody a cuddle, because the amount of power that literally just human interaction can have, and I'm talking physical interaction, so not like virtual interaction, which because of COVID, the virtual world has become far more predominant in people's lives than the real world. And it's having those real world connections, because I don't think human beings are meant to be solitary beings. You know, we need other people around us. I mean, there might be some exceptions to that, but for the most part, we need that interaction. We need those cuddles. We need those face-to-face conversations, not just being stuck in front of a PC or a laptop or living our life in our phones. We need to be present, and present with those around us, more importantly. So Duncan takes Saturday as his family day. He spends it with his wife and his kids, and that's their day.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. I mean, I know he's doing a little bit today because our venture round is drawing to a close.
Right.
But throughout today, he would have spent very little time on Twitter, Telegram, Discord.
Yeah.
It would have mainly been focused on his wife and kids.
Yeah. No, you're very right, and speaking from my own experience working in this space, I don't even know how long I've been working in it, like officially working in this space, but the people that know me, for example, they know that I have my day job, and then I got this thing, and before this Crypto Talks thing, I was with Versex, and I was doing other stuff with others before that, and it's like it becomes one of those things where and currently I'll be open about my schedule here, because my current schedule is basically I get up at 5 a.m, I work during the week, and I work to like 6 p.m. That's 13 hours approximately. And then when I get home, I start working on this stuff, or at least being around here doing Crypto Talks things and, reading charts and all these things. And then I tend to go to bed at like 1 a.m, and then I sleep for 4 hours. And then during the weekends, I try to take a lot more time off. So I learned that pretty quickly, that when I did 7 days a week, and basically, let's say on average 16 hours a day, your brain kind of shuts down pretty fast. And luckily for me, I have people. Well, luckily for me, I have people like Rob and John, who are two of the C-suits here with Crypto Talks. We are very close, very, very good friends. I consider them basically brothers of mine, right? And that's mainly because we've spent so much time together, helping each other kind of get through when, like you said, when you are a little bit down or when you are tired. And and Jay as well. Jay has been around for even longer than Rob and John. Because Jay and I, for example, he's the reason why Rob and I know each other.
Oh, you
why John and I know each other.
Now.
No, he doesn't. No, but seriously, like there's 4 people. Like, we are the 4 people that always are talking and trying to figure out how to proceed. And when you are kind of tired, I know exactly who to go to and complain. And they do the same thing with me, right? It's very important to have that and to have people around you that will just kind of pull you out of the rut, out of the gutter at points. So I didn't actually know you guys did that space. I would have liked to sit in on that.
We have got the recording somewhere. I can get hold of the recording for you so you can actually listen in. I think it was probably one of our longer spaces because I think it went on for about 4 hours. So our space generally ranges from 1 to 2 hours depending on the topic of conversation, and that one went on till I think it was midnight, so it would have been a 4-hour space. And it was even talking about controlling your emotions when, you know, the token doesn't do what you think it's going to do. Which, you know, anyone can go in, buy a token thinking it's about to moon. And then something happens and there's a crash and you may have overinvested. And one of the best pieces of advice I ever had was don't invest more than you can afford to lose. But there's still people out there who will invest more than they can afford to lose. And then when the market takes a downturn and they just see their money, you know, going down and down and down and down, and they're, in their mind, they're losing everything. And it's how to manage your emotions at that time. So yeah, that space, I'll get hold of it for you so you can listen in, but it was a really, really powerful space. And
we might share it in this description.
We had a psychologist in the space as well. So actually a working psychologist in the space to help us with the topic because of how deep it could get. It was nice to be able to provide that level of knowledge for the community and hearing people's experiences, because you can always learn from somebody else's experience.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I think this is something that we keep pressing on each time we go live. We always say, you know, join the Discord. It's a networking platform. This is where you will meet people that will not only teach you things, but will also be there and kind of talk to you all the time and just help you figure things out. You know, it's like we want it to be a place where people want to be and I don't want to use, you know, the building a community type thing. It's a networking platform, but that means it's a community. So effectively it is, right? So we keep saying to people, you know, join the Discord and come talk to us, hang out. We're almost always around. There's always someone there, ready to go, you know. And most of the people, or I think all the people currently that's in our Discord are very serious people. Like you can actually have a very serious and good conversation with almost anybody in there, as far as I can tell, at least. So it's not just, you know, joking around a bunch of memes and stuff. I don't think I've seen a single, like, we don't have a meme channel, for example. I know that a lot of communities have like meme channels. We don't have that.
Meme channels can be so much fun though.
Yeah, they can be, but it's like it ends up being the only channel that's active, you know.
Every other Discord server has a meme channel. We don't need a meme channel.
No.
Are you worried that you become a meme, Rob?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think I'm already a meme.
I mean, instead of that,
I am a meme.
Instead of that, in our members chat, which is where we're going to open up the members section later on. That means that you'll get access to certain special channels when you're a member of our Patreon and stuff like that. We have a Crypto Talks Bitcoin trade log where we're going to put in some cash into Bitcoin, and we're going to kind of show every single trade that we are doing through our weekly TA that we do on Mondays. So we're going to do trades according to what we're saying there, and then we're going to log it there so people can see what's going on with it.
Yeah. So we will
that's more like a channel that we have.
Yeah.
So that's more like a channel that we have compared to like a meme channel. So we're a bit more on the No,
Well, because,
no
because,
financial
because
right.
it's kind of because but what they say this will be literally, it would be our basically our process. So and this could be, we could, I mentioned on Monday, I said from the price where we were, I put in some, the fact that we were, that the title was bearish with a smile, because we were kind of expecting some sort of breakdown. But as I said, there's a lot of technical reasons and a lot of positive side to the charts that said this could have just carried on going up higher. So it made it a very, very clear, if you wanted to go long, this is where you would set a trade. If you wanted to go short, this is how you would play the short side. And essentially we just, like, we could have potentially taken one of those trades. So that's how the trade channel will be. But we would say maybe this would be the long setup, this would be the short setup. We're deciding to go for the short setup. This is where our entries are, this is where our exits are, this is why. And it would just be a log that, one, say, holds us accountable, so that people on Monday, when they see us doing RTA, they can actually then look at a channel that says, yeah, we're not just talking absolute nonsense, we're applying the processes that we're talking about in our own trades. But it's very much this is our own trades, these aren't your trades. If you make your own trades, they're on your back.
Our meme channel is going to be failed trades instead, basically. if there are any.
Nice. Yes, biggest losses, biggest wins.
Yeah. It's like, and I think it's important. Actually, saying that, I actually think that might be a good idea, because I think it's important for people to realize that there are people who make losses too. People make bad trades, and it's like you just have to accept that that's going to happen. If people go into this thinking that they will only do,
and that's,
if people go into it and just think that they're going to go win, and then they lose, they're out. Like, they're going to stop. I think it's good to understand that.
Go on.
No, I was done there.
Oh, you were done. All right, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you sounded like you're more skill. I learned long ago I'm a much better analyst than I am a trader. I'm my analysis is generally pretty good. Generally quite on point. But
clicking the button is hard.
When it comes to me executing trades, I'm not the best, and that was what really dragged me into, because it's the mental side of it. I'm not very good mentally at handling the trade setup, and I'm perfectly aware that is a weakness in myself, and so I mitigated that by coding and writing my own trading strategies, which would do the job for me. It was my emotionless self put down in code, and that's if I could follow the rules, and that's kind of what our trade log, what I'd really like it to be. It was like, no, it's going to force me to be accountable, it's going to force you to be accountable, we're going to have to really think about what we're doing. And I think it'd be very interesting to see what kind of gains or losses we make in say a year. Yeah.
So Hayley, now that we're talking about trading from nowhere, is this working, by the way? Because I got this little lag thing again on my computer, and sometimes the microphone dies. I'm hoping it works.
Oh, okay.
Seems
to be working just fine.
Great. So Hayley, I was just gonna ask you, like, do you, in your educational stuff for Treasury, you also do you teach TA and stuff like that as well?
There's a little bit. We did have, I believe we've got somebody writing a better TA lesson series for us, but obviously this is something that isn't a quick 5-minute write the lesson plans for you, because
we know
TA is it's quite a big topic, and being able to properly understand the chart. So I mean, I didn't know what the hell candles were until I actually did the lesson.
Right.
Or the basics.
I mean,
lessons.
You don't know what you haven't learned, right?
Yeah. So I was going, oh, that's what that means, because I literally would just follow the line.
Right. You were on the line chart. Yeah.
So I
a lot of people are,
because in the past I was a chemist. I understand the line chart. That makes perfect sense to me. But then having all these sticks and all these other little things going on in there, I'm like, do you know what? I'm just going to follow what I know. And following what I knew worked for me. Not knowing some of the technical terms probably worked better for me, because I got to a point where I found that when I started learning some of the more technical terms, it was like, this is too much. This is a little bit too overwhelming for me. So actually sticking to what you know, and, you know, following the old KISS mentality, keep it simple, stupid. I love that. Yeah. I'm a big fan of literally the Dummies Guides books.
Yeah. Oh, they're great though.
They are, and that's because they don't overcomplicate things. They keep it simple. They keep it relatable and easy to understand. And for me, that is the best way for me to learn. I mean, I'm a hands-on learner, but with crypto, you couldn't really get that hands-on because it's not a physical something.
Because it's not real. It's not real.
It's mythical, and it's like playing Final Fantasy all over again.
FIFA point. FIFA tokens.
Good games. I think Hayley, I think I understand exactly what you mean, because when you're thinking about the because we touched on this earlier about the newcomers and the people that are not really interested. Like, if you try to teach them to be a trader, that's not a great idea to introduce somebody to crypto. It's like, no, you explain what it is that you're actually looking to.
And then I think how to be a trader, I'd run a mile, and I don't run.
But the way that I got into it was that I got into it by learning what it meant, what all these different tokens actually was, and how they were, why they were important. And then after that, I learned how to be an investor rather than a trader, you know. And then it took me like at least 6 to 8 months before I started trying to understand how to trade, like how to properly trade, where to buy, and all these things. So I think easing somebody who's new into it as an investor rather than a trader is probably smart.
Yeah,
and mainly because of what you said there,
I'm
right?
Still not ready to be a trader.
Yeah.
Nobody should be a trader. So just for comparison, say my education in crypto came from joining in mid 2017, 5xing my money in 5 months, then losing 90% the year after. That was my education. So yeah. And that is, I guess, I had a very typical education. I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yep. I had something similar.
Yeah, you were just one cycle later, and unfortunately, this is the kind of the lessons that can't be learned. The it is only time and being able to sit and listen to people who've been there, that have done it, that understand. You know, they understand what you're going through. I'm like, I've spoken to people who've absolutely gutted about what has happened in 2022. And meanwhile, the stuff I've held stuff. I didn't. At time, sold some stuff during the highs, but a lot of it, no, I held way longer than I should have done on the way down, and it hurt. It was a hit, but it was the emotional maturity of having been there before. It's like you understand it's part of the game, and
Isn't that where the scale comes in? So So when I say I'm not technical, I am in no way technical. So I listen to what people say, and then I translate it into my own language. So it's probably so I see it as a scale. So you set the scale at different points at which you're willing to sell. So when you buy at your entry point, and then say when it reaches this much, you'll sell so much, and then this much.
Scale out. Brilliant. It's brilliant. That's what we do. We use weird words for it.
I don't know the technical term for any of that. I'm sure people have said it, but the way I translate it in my mind is, okay, so you set a scale, and at each of these points you sell so much of your investment. That way, if the worst was to happen, you've kept some of your gains.
So I would call that a partial sell.
Okay.
That's the term. That was the term I would use for it. Or
Yeah,
DCA out or take profits.
yeah,
Yeah.
layering out, layering in. It's like people use it. I don't think there's like a specific terminology used for
No.
doing that, and then the same thing on the way down where you buy back in like slow in increments. I think it's just something people. It's a very good solution to making sure that because like you said, Haley, like if you buy down here, and then you start layering out in steps. It's like, okay, so you take some profits here, you take some profits here, you take some profits here, and then after 2 or 3 sales of, like, say 10% of your bag, you've already taken your initial investment out, and then everything after that is just profits. So it's like, even if you were to do an optimal thing where you buy down here perfectly at the bottom and then sell the perfect top, the chances of you doing that is basically 0. So it's like, even if you're a great trader, I mean, I pride myself in being pretty accurate with the TA because I do it together with Rob, and we do that a lot, and we look at a lot of the market like in macro perspectives, and so I would say we are pretty dang good. And looking at our
Stay
TA
humble,
Monday,
Phil.
no, but like looking at our TA Monday, and I'll get to the point soon, but looking at our TA Monday, since we started it, I think 3 months ago. Oh, yeah, I don't even know how many. We have been basically dead accurate, like perfectly accurate almost every single week. And it's done literally everything that we expected it to do. And we never talk about saying, oh, you should buy exactly here, or we're going to buy exactly here, or sell exactly here. It's like we find a range of where we think the price might be moving, right? And then we use the bottom of that, somewhere around the bottom, to buy, and somewhere around the top to sell. That's kind of how we think about it and we're actually currently, not that you asked, but we actually currently, Rob has been helping me put my brain into code as a trading strategy, where we've back tested it now, and we're testing it to see what it's doing, and it's catching bottoms, buy orders, basically almost perfect. It's very good.
Pretty routinely,
yeah, it's pretty dang good. And me knowing that is my brain on paper, basically, is pretty cool. And all these type of strategies that can be automated. Rob has a few in there too, I think, that he's made for himself. We're gonna make all those accessible to people later on when we have the Patreon running and all that, so you can actually have access to those type of things. So you don't have to deal with that. What did you call it again, Rob? The headache of being the one that presses the button, basically, for the buy and the sell.
So having to deal with, say, the mental aspect and the fact that actually I do need to sleep, which is a big deal. Like, I would quite routinely wake up. Like, I used to wake up sort of fairly late in the morning. I'd wake up maybe 7:30 to 8 o'clock. The amount of times that I would wake up and a huge move had happened 1 or 2 hours before I woke up, and it's like I might have had a perfect trade setup, and it just went absolutely tits up right before I woke up, and my bot can handle that. And so it's like, I just looking at it going, no, you're superior to me. I made you. You're my child, and you're better than me. You will do my bidding.
Yeah, no, it's and I think, Haley, for someone like you who's not very technical, wouldn't it be nice to just click on a button and then just not think about it, and then have it do it for you, right?
It would and it wouldn't, because I'd then be in the mindset of, but is it actually going to do it? So I'd then have to oversee what the software was doing, because in my mind,
we can show you our strategy if you want.
Well, that was my 2022. When I say I put, I allowed some things to drop too far before I sold. I had a lot of coins so I was running on a trading strategy platform where I was running an awful lot of coins, and some of them was stuff I held, some of it was things I was just trading. But I was like going, okay, I'll wait for a certain amount of time. I'll just allocate this much, then this much, then this much. And I just allocated slowly, sort of coin by coin, because I was a bit too scared and I wanted to make sure it backtested properly. What I should have done was lobbed everything in when I actually started putting the platforms in October 2022. So it's like a month before the top. If I'd have just gone absolutely everything in, I'd have been an absolute baller. Yeah, absolutely nailed it. But instead, no, it was. I can't complain. Did all right, but could have done a lot better.
Yeah. No,
you could always have done a lot better.
Oh yeah. But I'll just be happy to say that my cost basis is 0, so it doesn't get me. If I got out of the bull market with anything, it's a 0 cost basis from now on.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So, yeah, and that took me until I was in profit from 2017 all the way until I think July or so 2018, and then I was essentially in a loss. Apart from say a bit of a peak in 2019, I was in a loss all the way until 2020 because so much just got mullered even into 2019, where there's like just mistakes and things that you shouldn't have bought and things that seem a good idea but actually are just nonsense. And I owned about a Tron at some point when it was like 10 or 12 cents, and everybody's going, there's one guy I remember in a group saying it's going to go down to like 2 cents, and he was getting absolutely hammered in the group, and lo and behold, he was right, and they'll have all sold their bags at the bottom when he was buying, because he knew what was happening and others didn't. And it's just that there is nothing like experience for that education. So I like to kind of share my thoughts and share, whether or not they're right or not, I can share my opinions, which at the very least will come from a sort of experienced head and a background of I've seen this before, I understand this before, and so that value of community is very special.
Yeah, and I think you learn the most of the stuff that you learn, at least from my own experience, is by being in a community with people that you can be in a project's community, and there's a lot of people there talking about that project in particular. But then if you join something like, let's say, Treasury or Crypto Talks, where it's not just about one project or one chain, it's all about more, learning how to look into any project and any trade. That's where you actually learn the most, I think, from people, and that's where you get most value for your time, I think.
We can kind of go full circle here and go talking about, it's by being surrounded by people smarter than you or that know things that you don't, having a mentor as we were with right from the start. In that sense, Phil, fairly obvious. Although we're kind of equals, we mentor each other in different ways just through our interaction, because we have different strengths and weaknesses. And the more you can be around those people that share a common interest and a common desire to develop you in that field, can only be a good thing.
Yeah. Something I was going to ask Hayley about too, like, have you guys thought about putting together education about so people can learn what type of investor they actually are? We had actually a stream about this earlier a couple of weeks ago, where we kind of talked about how to identify what type of person you are and how you can use that. Not like people think they know who they are in terms of as a crypto investor or investor overall, but so what if you can figure out exactly what you are, if you're risk averse or risk taking and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. So if you can learn who you are, what works, like what type of approach you should have, then it suddenly becomes a lot easier. So that's something you guys have thought about, kind of putting together.
It's not, but it's definitely something I'll suggest, because it really does dig into the psychology of investment And
Phil wants a full psychology course, and that's what he's trying going after.
No,
Not to, but that's what he's after.
which
I mean-
is absolutely fine, because
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot of psychology out there in different aspects of life.
Mhm.
You know, there's the psychology of what kind of a thinker you are, or what kind of a manager you are, and what kind of a learner you are. And psychology does play a very big part of just everyday life.
Yeah.
I mean, see, if you look at what's happening today around, it's happening around USDC currently, that is a purely psychological move. There is, as it stands, there's $3 billion or so of money of an asset, which is like, I don't know what USDC's market cap is now, is it?
Well, I
Does
just
it
brought
tell
it
you
up
there?
here. It's moved from being down 8% to being down 1.7%, and I don't
So,
know.
USDC, there you go. USDC's market cap is 40 billion. Now, they are missing 3 billion, and when we say missing, they know where it is. It's just, they know who has it or who should have it. But this is a 40 billion asset class, which most of it is yielding profit. So there's actually no fundamental reason that USDC are insolvent or unable to meet ultimately their obligations. It still didn't stop people selling their dollars for 90 cents today, and that was purely psychological. There was no actual reason for doing it other than, I am going to scare the shit out of you so I can take your money off you for cheap. And that was the game. That is the game. And if people can just learn that these techniques exist, other than, the way I learned was simply by seeing it God knows how many times, but eventually it's like, you can learn these tricks quite simply. That these markets are designed to screw you and extract your money. They're not designed to be your friend, and they're brutal.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at this now, down here during this downturn, Twitter was blowing up, and there was a lot of FUD, a lot of scared people saying that, we got the UST depegging all over again type stuff. And it's like, just looking at this now, look, it's almost back to peg already, and it's not even been a day yet.
Because all it took simply was enough people to go, actually, no, I can look at the logic of this, and I can see the opportunity in doing this. I mean, in terms of looking at DAI, we me and Phil were talking about DAI earlier, which also lost its peg, mostly because it's primarily collateralized with USDC, and that presented people today with an opportunity. If they had a DeFi loan in DAI, they could repay that loan for 90 cents on the dollar. But I bet a whole load of them went, I'll wait till 85, or I'll wait till 80. I'll wait for it to depeg a bit more, and now it'll be right back where they are, and they've lost that opportunity because they were greedy and because they played themselves. Congratulations.
They've been too cocky.
Yeah, and they didn't not understanding the fundamentals of the market, but B, say the psychology and the human interaction which led to this happening in the first place.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. I think actually psychology is one of the most important parts of being in this space, because everybody knows it's much harder, it's much easier to press the buy button than it is to press the sell button. And that's almost entirely based on, the psychology of being afraid to sell too early.
It's also a lot early. It's a lot easier to hit the buy button at 30k than it is to hit it at 15k.
Yeah, not for me. Like, this is why we did the last video with the TA thing. It's like we were bearish with a smile because we wanted to go down so we can buy more. And it's like, I'm sorry, everybody. Like, I want more Bitcoin. Like, and I would prefer to buy it at 18k than 25.
That is
I think
the bit.
a lot of
Sorry, go on, Hayley.
I was going to say a lot of it is, it's all emotional.
Yep.
Absolutely,
It's
and
very much
it's that.
playing on people's emotions, and a lot of investors out there are what I call emotional investors. So
Yeah.
they let
Absolutely.
their emotions control their investment choices rather than thinking about it logically, which is where a lot of the whole FOMOing into things comes from, because all that hype is there and it's getting you super excited, and then you get scared that you're going to miss out if you don't get in on that hype. And it's the same as probably what's just happened with USDC is, let's play on emotions, because emotions are very strong. You know, you react to fear, you react to joy. They're two very simple emotions to be able to manipulate, especially in this kind of a market that we operate within.
Yeah. I mean,
Well-
with all that said, I want to show this to you, Hayley, mainly because we did mention this. This is something that we're kind of into, and I want to show this. This is some data that we have from. Let's see if I find the right window here. This is some data that we put together before for another stream, but this is what I meant when I said, you know, learning about what kind of investor you are, and you said, and you see, like, this is the top 100. This is the what the top 100 investors of all time are like. So basically the study was, they looked at the top 100 investors, most successful investors in the world over time, and they looked at what type of people they are. And you see that none of them are feelers. Like 0% of them are feelers that are emotional investors. 100% of them are thinkers, which means that they use logical analysis to do things. They leave feelings completely out of it. So that kind of shows you that, you know, it doesn't mean that if you're a feeler, you're going to be completely unsuccessful. But this certainly speaks to the fact that it might be, if you know you're a feeler, then maybe you know you can start working on how not to be a feeler anymore to maybe become a better trader or investor, right?
Just, yeah, when she breaks your heart, like, just go to the gym, sort your diet out, rein it all in. No emotion, no anything. You just nail that trading in, Sigma grind lifestyle, and yeah, profits.
Do you know what? I think you do need a certain amount of emotion in there to be a balanced trader. You know, it's
Absolutely.
Use your logic, but there's nothing wrong with bringing a bit of emotion in.
No, I agree.
Investor, I nearly FOMO'd into so many bloody projects, but that's because I kept getting caught up in the hype, and then luckily I'm the kind of person that will get really excited, but then I still have to walk away and do my due diligence, do my research. I'm not the kind of person that is, oh my God, I'm going to miss out if I don't do it right now. I'm going to do it now. Yeah. I'll be in that mindset of, oh my God, what if because I'm going to go away and have a look at it, I miss out. That hits my mind rather than, oh my God, I've got to do it now.
Yeah.
If I don't do it now, I'm going to miss out. I'm more of, what if I don't do it now? Then I'll have missed a great opportunity. But luckily, with some of the projects I nearly FOMO'd into, quite a few of them were rug pulls. So I was lucky enough to not FOMO into them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Phil, I had to check Phil at one point, not in the recently, not to FOMO into Solana, didn't I? Because you were starting to feel it. He was. I was like checking him, and we get in the room, and every day he's like this, like a little crack addict, just like, Solana.
This is what I'm saying. It's like I know that I'm not 100% a thinker. I've learned how to be less of a feeler over time. Because I saw this data and I wanted to try if it made a difference for me, and it has. It really has. So, but it's still like I still get the FOMO chills. You know what I mean? Everybody does. And the thing is, the big reason to why I got the big reason to why I got the FOMO chills was because for Crypto Talks, I decided to sell a very large, substantial portion of my portfolio to invest in crypto talks to start building it, right? And I sold that. I'll be honest, I sold a lot of Solana at 1170. Even though I had bought it, I had bought it at 18, and then we had the big pump up, and then it was coming down. I was DCAing into it, and then I sold it literally at the bottom. Even though I was okay with it, but then I thought, okay, maybe this will.
Okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, no. I'll explain what it is. I was okay with it because I know that this investment into crypto talks would be something that I would like to do because I want this to be my job later on, right? So I was okay with that, and because I was pretty sure that the market would be sideways for quite some time, and it was for like a month or something. And I had planned to get some other funds in before, like within 2 months of that, but we had a delay with that due to various variables not falling through as they should. And then the market pumped 220%. And I was looking at it like, dang, so that's why I got the FOMO. And that's, I think anyone would have the feeling of, oh crap, I got to get back in at that point.
Oh, absolutely. And that's
it's a natural feeling, right?
And and I think to a certain extent, you should have that fear of loss. You shouldn't allow yourself to persuade yourself to
you're invincible.
It's all fine. Shrug the shoulders.
And that's like, no, there is that say, be fearful when others are greedy, be greedy when others are fearful. It's like, the soundest piece of investing logic says there is a time to be fearful. That is an emotion. The greed is an emotion. Like, absolutely let emotions guide you, but know that you can be a victim to your emotion, and they can guide you they can guide you instead of you guiding it, instead of you looking and going, oh my god, the market looks like shit, I've lost so much money, it's been bad. Instead of that, and going, this is what I've been waiting for. And that is a big difficult switch to sort of find in your head and go gunk and sort of activate.
I think a mix of both is what you need. Like, because if my emotions are telling me one thing and all the data is saying another thing, that's going to be a rough decision to make. That's when I go for the data, right? Usually. But if my emotions are saying the same thing as the data, then it's an easy decision, right?
I would say my gut is exceptional, but I just ignore it a lot. Like my gut knows the future. It knows everything. So often it's like, oh, dude, so you should be selling here. You should be saying, no, it's fine. Shut up. It's fine. You're just hungry. 3 days later. Oh shit! You were right. You were actually right down there, weren't you?
Yeah.
So,
but the question is it right? Is it right more often than not? Is the real question.
Yeah. Like it told me to sell Casper. It told me to sell Casper all of my Casper, the moment I got it from the ICO unlock at something like 60 cents from a 3-cent ICO. And of course I went, I'll just sell a bit. It's like, no, you moron. You should have just blanket dumped a lot of it. That was what my gut said, but my brain was like, oh, well, let's see where the chart goes. Let's see what market structure it put in. It was down. It was vertically down. It stayed vertically down. And the last I checked the price,
else was listening to their gut.
Oh, yeah. And the last I checked the price, it was currently 3.5 cents from a 3-cent ICO. So, yeah, not great.
It's still up.
Oh, no, I did sell it. I sold it sort of long ago, but it was that thing of looking at it and going, say, when you do get that, I really should take profit here. Or, oh, I should buy, but, oh, everything looks so bad. How can I buy at this point? It's like, no, that's when you listen to your gut. You listen to that gut when it's telling you to do something you're terrified of doing. Is the when your gut is saying,
do it.
Do it. You need to do this. You know in your heart, you're feeling it's there.
Rob, I think it's like you shouldn't be afraid to do what your gut says, especially if you like in that instance. Like if you're in profit, if you sell everything at 30% profit and then it pumps to 100, you were still in profit.
Yeah. I was
But
like
if
20x
you
in
wait,
profit, so
if you're not,
it was-
but it's like if you're not happy with 20, if you're not happy with 20x profit, then and you think, oh, I'm gonna go to 100x profit.
That's just being greedy.
That's just greed taking over. Greed is not a great
No.
emotion.
And that was it. So, but I sold. It was, and that's it. So I sold some at say 20x, some at 15x, some at 10x, some at. I think I got all out at about 4x, 5x profit, and that was when I was completely out. But that was, yeah, that was over a period of sort of weeks or months.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was that gut decision it's an experienced gut decision as well as going, this is not something to hold on to at this level, and yeah, sometimes just listening to that gut that tells you to make the sensible decision, like, oh, buying Bitcoin at $17,000 or $16,000 is actually a really good idea, even if it goes a bit lower. That is an example of your gut saying, it's all right, it's okay to not be perfect, but here is when you know what you should be doing. You know, and you just feel it. You should be buying. And if people weren't getting that terrifying feel at the bottom over the last few months of crypto, and even now looking at this drop and not getting excited, then like, why? Come on, what do you want? What are you here for? You're here for more Bitcoin, right? Here it is. Did you want it or did you not? Not financial advice, but did you want, say, do you have intention of buying more Bitcoin? If so, well then, if you sit and wait forever, you're guaranteed to miss any sort of bottom. Sometimes you've got to take the leap and live a little, have some feeling, have some fear. Say so. That's kind of where that was a big tangent. Thinking, feeling is good sometimes, but not too much. Think he's good sometimes, not too much. Essentially, it could go up, could go down, could go sideways. I think that's what we conclude from thinking and feeling.
Yes. I mean, I think going through the emotions, it's what's going to teach you which ones you should listen to and which ones you shouldn't. So it's more, I think it's more about the experience of experiencing different emotions in the market rather than just, if you're new to this, probably not a good idea to listen to your gut.
This even, people always say keep a trading log. One thing, so if you had a little notepad, say trading log or a little thing, add your emotions down to your trading log. What were you feeling when you made that trade? What was it? What was your confidence level when you entered that long? How do you feel about your stop loss? Give yourself feedback, and then you can actually objectively look at and learn from your mistakes.
That actually does make a lot of sense.
No, but he's more sensible than you think.
Who's going to be a better critic than you? Because so often when when you do something wrong, you screw up and you look at it, nobody is harder on you than yourself for the mistake that you made. And nobody else knows better than you why you made that mistake. And so nobody else can learn from the mistake better.
Maybe we should be getting Crypto Talks to contribute a lesson or two to our academy, eh?
Hey, we're around. You know where we are. You've got our number. You've got our Discord.
Hayley, what we tend to do is we do our things here. Like we do the pod on the Saturdays. We do the weekly TA thing. There is going to be more when we have more time, obviously. But we also do, like, whenever we're done with this, we go to our Discord and we hang out with people. And I've done, I don't know how many, like, face-to-face lessons in just one-on-one lessons to try to help people learn about TA and how to do fundamental analysis and how to dig into a project. Like, I like doing these things. That's why I started Crypto Talks. That's the whole point of it. So it's like, if there are Treasury people that want one-on-one lessons or want to learn more, like, you're more than welcome to join us as well.
Just want to come and have a chat and say, like, oh, can you give us a bit of info about this? Like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, we're
definitely,
like, we do this because it's fun. So, and I think since we worked together, Hayley, I think I have created a new Discord username, and I had to make a new one for security reasons. So I'm not in the Treasury Discord anymore. So
Okay.
you'll need to send me a link to that so I can rejoin it again. So, but
You,
yeah,
you're talking like 007 for security reasons. At the end of this recording, you will have 5 seconds before it explodes.
Yeah, that's what happens every time we stop the stream. Everybody who's watching, they have to log off YouTube within 10 seconds, and join the Discord, our Discord, and come talk to us within 10 seconds, or their computer will blow up. True story, no bullshit. Completely true story.
And obviously, nobody has found out this because they're all subscribed. So that's why nobody's talking about it. But no, if you're not subscribed, then your computer will blow up and you will die.
Okay, that's a bit harsh.
Don't threaten people.
I'm not threatening people. I'm not saying I'm going to kill them. I'm just saying
no, you're warning. You're warning them. Okay, I get it. You're warning them that YouTube will blow them up.
It's more final. It's more Final Destination than Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's all right, Jay. Don't worry, Jay. You're already subscribed. It's fine. See, not a problem. If anyone's got a problem with it, there's a really easy solution. Subscribe.
Yeah,
you
subscribe.
Subscribe, hit the notification bell, join the Discord, and all that
Show
stuff.
your friends. Show your friends.
And we also say this every time. Like everybody who's watching this right now and who's watching it after this live is over, you have to show this channel to everybody that you've ever known and met in real life. So the best thing you can do is just try to make a list of everybody that you've ever talked to in your life from when you were born. Like find the doctor that was there when you were born, go to his house and say, subscribe to this channel, because otherwise
you will die.
Otherwise, yeah, Final Destination will happen. It's true.
I put it to you, right? Look, I promise you this. Every single person on the planet that doesn't subscribe to Crypto Talks will die. Every single one of them.
At some point, probably, yeah.
Unfortunately, everybody who also subscribes, they will also die eventually.
Hey, hang on a minute. No. I'm pretty sure there is not a single person who has died who is subscribed to us.
At the moment.
Yeah, that's true. I know that for a fact, actually.
I mean, so I'm again. So just look at the evidence and make your decision based on that.
This is how we get new subscribers, Hayley.
Yeah.
How do you like it?
They're gonna die.
Death threats and circular logic.
It's unforgettable, and it's kind of funny, but it's actually true.
Is that also the case if I don't come back in the future?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, you can come back whenever. We've always got time.
Yeah. But you also have to realize that, like Rob said, everybody who is not subscribed to this will die eventually. So Hayley, I hope you are subscribed, because we really like you and we don't want you to die.
Yep.
Right?
And you need to tell everyone in the Treasury Discord, because you care about your own community. Self-preservation.
I care about their well-being.
If you truly care about your community, Hayley, you must tell them to subscribe.
At what point do we actually cross into being threatening here? I'm not sure where
I
the
don't
line
know.
is.
Sorry. I think we need to stop this weird.
Shut up! Come on,
we're obviously just joking, maybe, and
maybe sometimes.
I think maybe we should start another channel called Comedy Talks.
Comedy Talks.
Well.
I'm not that funny. I don't know about you.
I don't know. People tell me I'm not funny or funny. I can't remember which one. But sometimes people laugh
they
when I
obviously
say
don't
things.
tell you with much gusto. Then they don't tell you with much enthusiasm whether you're funny or
well,
not. Well,
Hayley is happy, so that's good.
I'm crying with laughter. Yeah.
Internally, at us. I'm laughing at you, not with you.
Maybe a little bit.
I think we should wrap it up here anyway because I need to
Jeez.
start being quiet soon. We started a
Yeah,
little bit
before
later than
Rob
we usually
actually
do.
physically does threaten to kill somebody.
Right?
Gonna send out the heavies.
Send help. Let's get help.
Rob, I know where
that's
we can get you some help.
Oh,
apparently,
there's no amount of help.
apparently my face is funny, so that's great. I guess that's good.
Well, one of our faces is funny anyway.
Yeah,
at least-
probably mine.
No, John just said, look, your face is funny. He was speaking to me, I
Yeah,
think.
but he doesn't say who he's referring to, so it could be any
Oh,
one of
that's
those.
true. I just, I assumed.
That's psychology there for you. Now we're all
Yikes.
going. Do we have a funny
So
face?
John's just adding paranoia to our list of issues.
All right. Okay. Well, Hayley, thank you for coming and doing this with us.
Thank you for having me.
We should do it again sometime. And obviously,
Not on a Saturday, and we can bring Duncan on as well.
Yeah.
Well, if we give
maybe
him
we'll-
enough notice, I'm sure
Yeah.
he'll join
yeah.
us. I think it's just with we've got our venture round ending and it's family
Oh,
day.
yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
if we give him plenty of notice, I'm sure
Yeah, we can do it in the summer
can make
sometime
it
too.
happen.
Like we don't have to do it right now. We can wait and do it on
as long
for
as
the
we
spring or
subscribe,
something.
I'm not going to die, so we've got plenty of time.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
there's no timeline for death. By the way, it's not like death note or anything. It's just just general. You are statistically guaranteed to die if you don't subscribe. So therefore, you can't hurt your chances. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we're not saying that subscribing will make you immortal. We're just saying that it won't
Nobody
hurt
who
you.
has subscribed has died. That's
Yeah.
just a fact.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay,
So I'll
so-
make sure that Duncan knows this fact as well then. So
Good.
he definitely will be here in the future.
I really love the fact that we spent the last 10 minutes talking about how that you must subscribe to this channel.
Or die.
Well, normally we do it like this. Let's see. All right, everybody, we're going to round it off here. Thank you for joining. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification thingy, and join the Discord. We're going to hang out there after this for a while, and that's it. So we're going to round it off here. So, and I am actually going to turn the stream off now because somebody yell at me. So, Hayley, join the Discord with us, please, and so we can hang out a little bit after
I will.
this. Yeah.
I'll find
Alright,
the link or send me the link. That way I don't have to
I
go.
will.
Yeah.
I will
Will
for
do.
sure. All right. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you next
take
time.
care, guys.
Right.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers. Yeah, thank you.
Subscribe or die.
Bye.